Guys, our lesson today is how to draw a line y bằng ax plus b in xy coordinate system. Okay, so we will divide them into different cases. Then you can, whenever you see a question, you can recognize it and know how to draw it. So we start from the general form of a line. It is a y equal to ax plus b, where ab are coefficients. X is independent variable and y is a dependent variable. Y is a dependent variable because it depends on x. So whenever you put a value of x in the equation y equal to ax plus b, you can get a value of y. Okay, and in order to draw a line, you always need 2 points. We cannot make a line with 1 point because with 1 point you can make many lines, like infinitely many lines, right? Because it can come from any direction. But for fixed line, you need at least 2 points. Okay, for fixed line, only one line, you need at least 2 points. Okay, so we'll start from the most simple cases. So the case 1, when we have a is a coefficient, it means it is a number. So the case 1, a is not 0, but b equal to, case 1 is a equal to 0. So if a equal to 0, then ax equal to 0, right? So the equation now is just a y equal to b. So how to draw a line y equal to b? So y equal to b is mean at any point on the line, you always have a y coordinate equal to b. Okay, x can be anything, but y is always equal to b. So we draw it. So in order to draw this line, you take so we have a o y o x here, and in order to take this in order to draw this line, so we'll take the value y equal to b. Let's say it's here, it's b. Okay, b can be positive or negative, but in this case I just take b is positive. Okay, so if b is positive, then you just draw a line parallel with ox and cross b. Okay, maybe I draw in different color. Here, so here is the line y equal to b. So you can see on this line, if you take any point, let's say if I take a point A on this line, then it will have some x coordinate, right? But the coordinate y is always b. So any point on this line is you always have a coordinate y equal to b. Okay, and this case is y b is positive. So what if b is a negative? So if b is a negative, then your line is below the OX axis, so still parallel with OX, but below it. Okay, in this case, so B smaller than 0, okay, or B negative. So we have y equal to B. Okay, so whenever you see y equal to something, remember that line is always a parallel with OX, okay, and cross the coordinate is a B number. So we'll take an example. Let's say y equal to 2. We need to draw this line. Okay. So let me take 2 is here. Let's say 2 is here. Y equal to 2. So let's say 2 is here. So 2 is a positive. So of course it is above OX axis, right? So we'll draw a line that parallel with OX axis, but go through y equal to 2. So here is a sketch, a graph of the equation y equal to 2. Okay. So this case is a very example. It's very simple. So we don't have much to say. So let's go to the case 2. Okay, so case 2. So we know that we already have a y equal to something. So what if we have an equation of a line that x equal to something? So how can we draw it? So let's say if we have because here we always have 2 variables, right? We always have 2 coordinates, x and y. So we already have a y equal to something, but x equal to anything, right? So now we come a different case. It is x equal to something. It's a fixed number, okay? But y can be anything. So that equation of a line is x equal to c, where c is a coefficient. Okay. So above we already have a y equal to b. It means it is a line parallel with OX. So for the case 2, if x equal to something, then that line is a parallel with OY. Okay. OY, OX. So if c greater than 0, if c is a positive, let's say x equal to 6, x equal to 1, x equal to 2, x equal to 15, 20, whatever. Okay, so in that case, the line is a parallel with OY and on your right hand side of OY. Okay, on the right side of OY. Let's say here. I should change the color. So this one is the line x equal to c. Okay, and so it is a line that parallel with OY on the right side of OY because c is greater than 0. C is a positive, and it crossed the OX at x equal to c. Okay, so this point is x equal to c. And if you look at here, you will see So the value of y, if you pick any point on this line, that point will have a fixed x coordinate is a c, but y coordinate can be something. Okay, so let's say if we pick a point here, let's say point A, so this point will have an x coordinate equal to c, but y coordinate is a something, right? So it's a something here. Right? So it can be, let's say this one is 3/2. Then you will have a x coordinate is always c, but y coordinate is 3/2. So let's take another point. Let's say if we take another point here below OX, let's say point B, then you see point B also have a fixed x coordinate is a c. Okay, any point on this line always have a x coordinate as a c. Okay, and then let's say the y coordinate here is a 2, -2, sorry, because it's below OX, so it must negative. Okay, so this case is a c greater than 0. So what if c is negative? It means it's smaller than 0. Then your line is on the left, right, the left side of OY. Okay, here we also have the line x equal to c, but this case is a c negative. It means c smaller than 0. Okay, so for this case, x equal to c, we always have that line is parallel to OY. Okay, but it on the right side of OY or on the left side of OY, it depends on c. Is a negative or positive. Okay, if it is a positive, then it is on the right side of OY. If it is a negative, then it is on the left side of OY. Okay, so that's a case 2. So we have a case 3. Case 3, we have a equal to ax plus b, but the value of b here equal to 0. So if b equal to 0, then we have the line is a y equal to ax. Okay, so in this case, let's say this is also special because any line like this, okay, the line is always past the origin O, okay, where x and y coordinates are 0, 0. Okay, so if A greater than 0, then your line, the line will pass through the origin here and stay, oh sorry, my bad, oh I don't know why I cannot draw nicely. Okay. Okay, let's say it's like this. Okay. So it always pass the origin point, and it always stay in the quadrant, the first quadrant, and the third quadrant of your OXY coordinate. Okay. So if A is positive, it means greater than 0. So it always stay in the line always pass the origin and stay in the first quadrant and the third quadrant of your OXY coordinate. Okay, so this case is A is greater than 0. Okay, so what if so let's take an example. Let's take an example. So if we have a y equal to 2x, so you will see in this case a equal to 2, right? And it is greater than 0. So from the above, we know that it will go through the origin and occupy in the first and the third quadrant. The line will, occupy in the third and the first and the third quadrants. So let's draw this line. And I already talked from the beginning that we need 2 points to draw a line. So y equal to ax is the same thing. We need 2 points. But we already know that this line will go through the origin. So it means we already know 1 point. It is the origin. But we need to take another point, right? And another point, in this case, we just give a value of x. Then we'll calculate the value of y. So I will take a note here. Let's say we have a x value here, and then we have a y value here. And we know that the equation of a line is a y equal to 2x. So we must calculate y based on this formula, okay? So we know the first point is 0, 0, right? It's origin. And now the second point, you just take any value of x and then you calculate y based on the equation y equal to 2x. So we'll just take small of x, small value of x. So and then when we draw, it is easier. So let's take x equal to 1, then y equal to 2, right? Because y equal to 2 times 1 equal to 2, right? So now we have a 2 point. The first point is the origin, 0, 0. X equal to 0, y equal to 0. And the second point is x equal to 1 and y equal to 2. Okay? So let's take another point. Okay? Let's say 1 is here. X equal to 1 is here. And then y equal to 2 is here. So and then this point. Okay? So this is the second point. So now we only need to connect the point, the origin point, and the point we just dot here. So just connect them. I think my drawing is not good enough. Let's see. Okay, now it's good. So here is the line y equal to 2x. So you can see the line past the point origin and occupy in the first and the first and the third quadrant. Okay, right? So because a equal to 2, 2x, it means a equal to 2, it is greater than 0. So what if we have a smaller than 0? Okay, so we continue. There's something wrong with this one. Okay, so let's go to another case. Is if we have here, if we have a y equal to ax and a smaller than 0. So if a is negative or smaller than 0, then your line still pass the origin. Okay, always pass the origin for the format y equal to ax. Okay, but this time it will lay down in the second quadrant and the fourth quadrant. Okay, so the line will be like this, something okay, I shorter a here. Okay, let's say it is like this. Okay, okay, so here we have the equation y equal to ax, where a is smaller than 0. So it will lay down in the second quadrant and the fourth quadrant. Okay, and we'll go over example, then it's easier. Okay, let's say we have an example. So above we have a y equal to 2x. So here we'll go to example y equal to negative x. So here a equal to negative 1, so smaller than 0. And we know that it will go through the origin and lay down in the second and the fourth quadrant. Okay, and because it is ax, so it means it will pass the origin. Okay, so let's take 2 points as we did above. So let's say if we have we always have the origin of 0, 0. Let's say if we take x equal to 1, then we'll have a y equal to negative 1, right? Because y equal to negative x. Okay, so we have a 2 point. The first point is always the origin, and the second point is x equal to 1 and y equal to negative 1, right? So let's say 1 is here and negative 1 is here. Okay, then here is our second point. Okay, and the first point is origin. Now we only need to draw it. Okay, so here you see y equal to negative x. That's the line y equal to negative x. Okay, so it lay down in the second quadrant, okay, and the fourth quadrant. Okay, so it's different from the case above, the case when a is a positive. Okay, so k is a is a positive. It means the line occupies in the first and the third quadrant. But if a is a negative, then the line lays down in the second and the fourth quadrant. Okay, so that's a case that's the case 3 for y equal to ax. Okay, it means the value of b equal to 0. So now we go to the case 4, where you know it is the most general form, the most complicated form. So y equal to ax plus b, where ab not 0. Okay, so where AB is not 0, you also need 2 points. You always need 2 points to draw a line. Okay, just except for the special case, the horizontal, the first 2 case above, where you know y equal to b or y or x equal to c. Okay, then you don't need 2 points. But for y equal to ax or y equal to ax plus b, you always need 2 points. But in the case of y equal to ax, you know it always passes the point origin. So you only need to take 1 more point. But for the most general form, y equal to ax plus b, ab not 0, then you need 2 points. Okay, now you don't have the origin. So that's why you need to find 2 points based on the equation. And in this case, we just go straight to example, then it is easier to see. Let's say we have a y equal to x plus 1. So in this case, you can see a equal to 1 and b also equal to 1, right? And we need 2 points. So how can we find 2 points? Okay, so you can find x coordinate, x-intercept and y-intercept. So what is x-intercept? X-intercept means, so how to find x-intercept? We just assign 0 to y in order to find x. Okay, so if we assign x equal to 0, then we have a y equal to 0 to find x. So it means we just write down 0 equal to x plus 1. Then we solve for this equation to find x. Okay, so in this case, we have a x equal to 0, subtract 1. We need to subtract both sides with -1, right? With 1, right? So that's why we have a x plus 1 subtract 1. So, you know, 1 subtract 1 is gone. And on the left side, we have a 0 subtract 1. So now we have a x equal to -1. Okay? So if for x-intercept, we have a y equal to 0, then x equal to -1. So we have a first point, -1 and 0. Okay, x equal to -1 and y equal to 0, because so we assign 0 to y, right? And now we have to find y-intercept. Then we'll have a 2 point. So y-intercept is mean we assign 0 to x in order to find y. Okay, and from the example above, the equation above, if we assign 0 to x, then we have a y equal to 0 plus 1 and equal to 1. So in this example, y-intercept is 1. So now we have the second point where x equal to 0 and y equal to 1. So now we have 2 points. It's enough to draw a fixed line. Okay, we just draw it. Now we just pick 2 points. Okay, -1, 0 here and here. So -1, 0 it means x equal to -1 here and y equal to 0. So it means this point. And the second point is 0, 1. It means x equal to 0 and y equal to 1. So this one. Okay, these 2 points. So this one is A and this one is B. So now the coordinate of A is a -1, 0, and coordinate of B is 0, 1. Okay, and now we only need to connect 2 points. Then we have a line. Okay, my drawing is not good, so I just move a little bit here. Okay, so here is the line y equal to x plus 1. Okay, always I have a 2 points. Okay, but not always. Okay, sometimes we take the x coordinate and y coordinate. I mean, sometimes for some equations of a line, when we choose x coordinate and x-intercept and y-intercept as a 2 points, it's easy to draw, easy to take 2 points, easy to calculate x and y. But sometimes it's not the case, especially when you generate after you give x equal to 0 or y equal to 0 and you end up with the answer as a fraction. Then it's more difficult for you to draw or scale on your graph. So not in this case it's easy, because after you assign x equal to 0, you calculate y, and y is a whole number. And after you assign y equal to 0, and then you calculate x is a whole number. Okay, it's a line -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on and so forth. So long as it is a whole number, it's very easy for you, okay, to draw. So that's why you can take x-intercept and y-intercept. But sometimes, you know, you don't have a nice equation of a line. Like if you give x equal to 0 or y equal to 0, and then you end up with 2 points with, you know, x coordinate as, you know, a fraction and y coordinate as a fraction. Then you have to scale, you know, draw on your graph with some fraction, and it's not easy. So in that case, you must find somehow to kill, you know, the fraction. I mean, make nice numbers. So I give example, and it's easy. We can see from example. Okay, let's say example. Let's say we have y equal to 2x subtract 3. Okay, so in this case, no, if we not say 3, if let's say something even worse, like 3x subtract 4. Okay, let's say if you have this equation. So in this equation, if you give x equal to 0, so you can see 3 times 0 is a 0, so y equal to -4. But when you give a y equal to 0, you will end up with x equal to a fraction, and it does not look nice, you know, when you have a fraction on your graph. So in this case, you have to think about, you know, you have to, you know, choose another point. Okay, you have to give you know, another value of x. Okay, we will not give we will not choose you know, x-intercept anymore. Okay, I will show it here and then you can see. So if we follow the example above, okay, we also find x-intercept and y-intercept, right? So let's say I find x-intercept. X-intercept mean y equal to 0, and then you find x, right? So if you put 0 in the equation, then you have a 0 equal to 3x subtract 4, right? Or you can rewrite it, you know, so it looks in the right orientation to you. So all 3x subtract 4 equal to 0. Then you need to solve for x. And in this case, you know 3x equal to 4. Okay, and then you have a divide both side by 3, and then you have a x equal to 4 over 3, right? So you can see in this case, your point or your x-intercept is a 4 over 3, okay, where y equal to 0, right? And you can see fraction is not so nice, right? When you draw a graph, of course you still can keep it, but to me it's not, it does not look nice. So I will choose a different point later. Okay, so now we continue with y-intercept. Okay, we just leave you know 4 over 3, you know, as a point, as the x-intercept there. We'll think we'll find another point nicer later. Okay, but first we need to continue with y-intercept. So y-intercept is mean x equal to 0. Okay, and you just assign put x equal to 0 into equation. Then you have a y equal to 3 times 0 subtract 4, and you have a here y equal to -4, right? So y equal to -4, so it is a whole number. It's a nice thing, right? So we don't need to worry too much anymore. So we just write down, okay, 0, -4. So that's the second point. So your second point look nice, okay, because you have a y-intercept is a -4, it's a whole number. Yeah, but what x-intercept is not nice, so that's why I will choose another point. Okay, so I start with the equation 3x subtract 4, right? And y equal to 3x subtract 4, and I want to make, you know, another point with y as a whole number and x also a whole number. So if we want to make y whole number, it's easy. You only need to choose x as a whole number, right? So let's say if I choose x equal to 1, right? And then I will have a y equal to 3 times 1 subtract 4 and equal to -1, right? So now we have the coordinates x and y are both, you know, nice number, whole numbers, right? So yeah, so we just take this point. So the second point is 1, -1, right? We forget about the intercept, you know, x-intercept above, you know, 4 over 3 is a fraction, it's not nice. So I just don't want to take it. Okay, of course you can choose to take it. It's up to you, so long as you find it is easier for you. But to me, whole number always look nice, so I choose whole numbers. Okay, so now I will draw it. Okay, so I have a O here, Y here, X here, and I have the first point is a 0. And we have a second point is like this. Okay, so the first point is a y-intercept. Y-intercept is mean it must be on OY, and because it is a -4, so it must be below OX axis. Okay, so let's say -4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here is the point 0, negative. Let's say point A. We have a 0, -4. Okay, And now we have a second point is a 1, -1. Okay, I don't choose x-intercept 4/3 because 4/3 is a fraction. So I choose the point 1 and -1. I just calculated above. Okay, so x equal to 1, that's here, and y equal to -1. So here we have a point B is a 1, -1. Okay, and then I connect 2 points. Okay, and this is a line y equal to 3x subtract 4. Yeah, so with 2 points, you always can draw a line. Okay, so we stop our lessons here, and next lesson. So the first lesson, we already learned how to draw a line if we have an equation of a line y equal to ax plus b. So how can we draw a line? Okay, so except for the two special cases above, like, you know, y equal to b or x equal to c, you know, it's a horizontal line and vertical line above. Except for those cases, in order to draw a line, you know, for a general equation y equal to ax plus b, we always need 2 points. Okay, without 2 points, you cannot draw a fixed line. Okay, so remember that. And the next lesson, we'll learn how to write an equation of a line. We know 2 points, or if we know slope, if we know y-intercept, if we know x-intercept, something like that. Okay, so the first lesson is they give you a line and they ask you to draw it. Okay, we already learned it, we just learned it. And the next time we will go over how to write an equation of a line if they give you 2 points, if they give you a slope, and if they give you, you know, intercept, x-intercept, y-intercept. Okay, so let's stop here.